All right, family. You live with the general. We got a five presentation today. We're gonna be talking about Russia and China are manipulating the U.S. through the Iran war with Korea in the shadows. But before we get started, family, I want you to get on over there to Patreon. You already know we got that file. I want you to get over there, check out uh uh one. Let me turn this down. I was like, what is this going on over here? The TV jumped right on in there. Hold on. I want y'all to get over there. Let me get in here. Okay, there we go. There we go. There we go. That's right. Freemasonry exposed Wiccan, Luciferianism, and Satanism, and has totally infiltrated the conscious community. So we won't. I got one particularly for the conscious community. I want you to get up because it's going down right now, family. The families are realigning. You see, new demonic entities are taking over. Don't click the link in the top of the chat and get over there. Now let's get right on into it, family. Russia and China are manipulating the U.S. Through the Iran war. Uh, you know what? It's coming a time, where see actors. We got actors that want to play a role. You see what I'm saying? Head Seth, who really ain't nothing but he ain't even a general. You see, you got these unqualified characters that are in position in this conflict in other administrative positions in the cabinet. These people are not qualified. These is ass kissers for Donald Trump. You see, anybody that he can will kiss his ass the most, that's who he put in power. And so now you done fired so many generals, so many admirals. I understand, getting the fruity tooty about the military. We understand that, but in the process, they didn't fired, and maybe and again, I don't want a Monday morning quarterback some shit. If motherfucker ain't qualified, they ain't qualified. You ain't gonna know if they qualified until you throw them on the battlefield. Now, America ain't been on the battlefield in a minute, so a lot of these cats, the Navy cat, he wasn't even I don't even believe he was a admiral. He wasn't even in the damn military. I think he was just a businessman. You see what I'm saying? And so, Donald Trump is because of his arrogance, and his, and ignorance at the same time in putting the top person in a position, you understand, to do the best job. He don't want nobody to have to tell him something that he don't necessarily want to do. So he don't want no, but that's, when you dealing with, you about to go into a fucking war, you understand, it ain't, when it's time to go to goddamn war, a businessman can't do shit for you. A businessman can't do shit for you. You need a military man that been in war, that the other soldiers and the other officers is gonna respect. You know what I'm saying? And so you in there firing some of the top officers in the military that a lot of these other officers respect, and so they don't have no respect for head self. They don't have no respect for Donald Trump as commander in chief. They don't have no respect for him. You see, and so at a time you need the top. That's just like what's going on with this fucking war, this negotiation. You sending this motherfucker over there, Kushner and goddamn, and I understand they say they good at negotiations and shit, and they ain't that goddamn good because ain't shit popping off. You see what I'm saying? They sending as far as they understand it, novices and shit. They sending novices. They saying these cats can't even negotiate with the Iranians and shit. And so this, so at this point, nah, I see that I believe it was the foreign minister of Iran. I believe it was the foreign minister. He went to Russia and sat down with Putin. Now, Putin, you know, Putin is like the boss man. You know what I'm saying? Real talk. He's like the boss man over there. Even though I believe, even over Xi Jinping, because I believe Iran and Russia got a tighter, because I think it's some lineage there. I think it's some lineage there, and so they more in China too, China, because they all, you know what I'm saying. But I believe because Russia and Iran been allies for a long time, you see, and so and Iran has been helping Russia and Ukraine with the drones, and I believe they even opened up facilities in Russia. You see, so they got their strategic allies and shit. So now you got, and so he's pulling strings, and so you could believe that a lot of what they negotiating on is through Putin. He's pulling them strings too, because he know if Iran go down, that's gonna be devastating for their ass. That's gonna be devastating because I mean, look, now you gotta you got just imagine that. You get enrolled into Iran and shit, that's gonna put pressure, all kind of pressure on fucking Russia, China, because now you got somebody in your back door. You got somebody right there in your back door that could, launch, much closer than previous years, and now they right at your front door. And so Putin is pulling a lot of them strings and them this tactics and strategy what's going on in Iran. And so Donald Trump, man, you hear him talking all this whoop-de-woo, this fucking make a deal and shit. These is motherfucking, they don't want no deal. These motherfuckers ready to rule. They ready to rule. They ready to try to get United States out the number one spot. Now all of this going, and people can see this shit. So the day when you can come and Vladimir, we don't want to hear nothing about no damn Vladimir. We don't want to hear nothing about Xi Jinping. We don't want to hear nothing about none of them. Them people want to be in power. They want to be in the number one spot. That's what they want to do, and they know that Iran, I'm kind of figuring like they not gonna, want to let Iran just get beat up and shit, which they is getting beat up now. I ain't gonna lie about that. But the thing is, the regime don't give a fuck about the populace. So the shit that they bomb, and they didn't already stored in the mountains all type of facilities and shit. They didn't went deep and shit into the mountains and shit. And they didn't put all type of, survival facilities and shit. So they got storage up under there where they could survive. So that's going to be, and so they don't give a fuck about the people per se. Long as the regime could survive, that means they ready to hold out. That's what, so, we looking at it, and I was looking at it at, that the physical damage, in which they are doing hella physical damage. And yes, it's going to bring turmoil on the people, but the regime don't give a fuck about the people. So they willing to sacrifice, the security of the people, the welfare of the people. They don't give a goddamn if they starving, or they're just like how fucking Kim Jong-un did over there in North Korea. Them goddamn North Koreans walking around over there eating dirt. That's what they're eating, literally. I'm being eating fucking dirt. You understand? Ribs and shit. You understand? Touching their back. Over the time that, since the Korean War, man, you could see how the South Koreans are much taller and bigger. They didn't, because they've been eating and shit. Man, them motherfuckers is small compared to their own goddamn Southern brothers and shit. They didn't do, they underdeveloped. So they willing, and he's in power. He's got missiles and shit and all of that. They got all that shit. You know what I'm saying? But they don't have the people don't have they advanced and with the missiles and shit. That's to keep the West from running in there on them. But the rest of the goddamn country is under fucking developed. And so when you got these psychopaths that are willing to sacrifice the people, you dealing with a motherfucker. That's why I said, you're gonna have to go in there on them. You know what I'm saying? You can't, and if you were, and if Donald Trump, and I say this and I say it again, if he was not ready to go in there, because Iran is not a country that you could just bomb. You cannot just bomb them motherfuckers because they already been planning damn 4 goddamn decades that the West would run in there on them. They know they was gonna bomb, so they didn't dug down in them fucking mountains deep. You understand, where even bunker busters might not be able to get down in there and get to them. You know what I'm saying? So this just blockading is not enough. It's not enough. It's not enough. You're gonna have to bomb and blockade, and it's time to go up. See, Donald Trump thinking he gonna get their oil. That's what he think. He think he gonna get their oil, and he might get it. So he don't want to necessarily blow the shit up, because he want to do it like Venezuela. He want to be able to get their oil up out of there. But if push come to shove, that shit gonna have to go. Because I'm telling people out there, at this point, the fight is on. For motherfuckers to be out there talking this, that, and the fight is on. So at this point, you got to be down or you got to go across the water, because these motherfuckers gonna retaliate and they ain't giving a fuck about nothing. No nigga is commenting or nothing. So your ass is under threat. You understand what I'm saying? That's why, if you gonna fight, motherfucker, fight. Go over there and do what the fuck you gonna do. All that just, pretending and shit. You cannot pretend with a nation like Iran. You know what I'm saying? That was fucking dumb. And now you just gonna sit out there. What the fuck? So I'm thinking that, that's what it looked like. I'm not saying that's what it is, but it's coming to the point where they're gonna have to make a decision. They're gonna have to make a decision on what they're gonna do. You know what I'm saying? Now, tapping. Now, if you tap, you're done for. It's over. You know what I'm saying? You could, you no more respect for your ass. Your status is over. You see what I'm saying? So that's that option. And the other option, in which they saying, everybody saying nobody wants to put boots on the ground. Some more motherfuckers got to be whacked. It's not enough. You done knocked off. It's still some motherfuckers got to be whacked. Some of them motherfuckers in that Iran Revolutionary Guard, them motherfuckers got to be taught a lesson. You see what I'm saying? Real fucking talk. You see, real motherfucking talk. And I'm gonna just tell you, and I'm gonna move and motherfuckers out there on, listen to me. Don't nobody give, y'all want a part-time, y'all want a part-time nationality shit, you know what I'm saying? And this, that, and the third. When it's on, it's motherfucking on. You see what I'm saying? When motherfuckers, one nigga in the clique get in a beef, nigga, and you in the clique, nigga. You see what I'm saying? And the niggas know everybody else in the clique, and they, motherfucker, you might not have been in the initial scrap. But when it's on, they gonna say, oh, there go one of them niggas. And you wasn't even in the initial scrap, but you on the squad, nigga, and you could be out in the street. And look, man, I done got into it, nigga. You know what I'm saying? Oh, you done got into it, yeah, with so-and-so and so-and-so. Yeah, so be safe out there, nigga. They don't give a fuck whether you was in the initial fight or not. If they see you, nigga, they gonna say, there one of them niggas right there. And it's on. So niggas out there part-time and shit. The beef is on. And so if these motherfuckers want to attack or do anything, nigga, your name is on the list regardless to whatever you believe in. You best believe your name is on the list, nigga. Okay, so stay with me, family. Get on over there. Check me out. We got the fire over there. Freemasonry exposed, Wiccan, Luciferianism, and Satanism. These is these niggas that's claiming to be Freemasons. We breaking it down to show you that they practice witchcraft. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Okay, they into Luciferianism, Satanism, and this is coming from the top, not the bottom. So get with me, family. This is some mind-blowing information. I'll be right back. Black Pop.